Father's Day. Wife said don't make plans. I woke up alone. Saw them brunching without me. Caption. Best dad ever when he's not around, lol. 63 missed calls. Dad, come home.
My name is James. I am 42 years old, and for a long time, I thought I had built a decent life. Not a perfect life, because I do not think anyone really has that, but decent, stable, real. I had been married to my wife Eliza for 16 years. We had 2 kids, Mia and Logan, and if there was one thing I always believed about myself, it was that I was a family-first kind of man. I coached Logan's soccer team. I used to braid Mia's hair before school when she was little and too impatient to sit still. I never missed birthdays. I never skipped holidays. I was the guy who showed up even when I was tired, even when work was heavy, even when nobody seemed to notice how much effort it took. I worked in IT remotely for the past 6 years. At first, everyone acted like that was a lucky setup, and in some ways it was. It meant I could pick the kids up from school, I could help with homework, I could be there when someone forgot their lunch, when someone needed a ride, when someone got sick, when a project was due the next morning, and somehow nobody had bought poster board. Eliza worked in real estate. She was good at it. Great, actually. Always polished, always dressed like she was walking into a magazine shoot, always talking fast and moving faster. For a long time, I admired that energy. I thought we balanced each other. She was the spark, I was the steady ground. Now looking back, I am not sure I ever really knew her at all. Father's Day was coming up, and even after all those years, I still looked forward to it. It was never about expensive gifts or big dramatic gestures. I did not need a parade. I did not need anyone to rent out a restaurant or make a speech about how amazing I was. I just liked having one day where I felt seen. A card from the kids, maybe breakfast in bed, maybe cartoons in the morning coffee on the porch, a little joke gift, something simple that said, "We know you are here, Dad. We know what you do. We appreciate you." That year, Eliza kept hinting that something big was coming. "Don't make any plans," she told me more than once, wearing that smile that was just a little too wide. "We have something special in store." Mia giggled when I tried to guess what it was. "You'll see," she said. "You'll love it." Logan was quiet, but he had that look kids get when they think they are part of a secret. So I let myself believe it. I let myself feel excited. After 16 years of marriage and 2 kids and all the ordinary wear and tear of life, I thought maybe they had planned something sweet for me. Something that would remind me I still mattered in my own house. I woke up that Sunday morning and the bed was empty. At first, that did not bother me. I figured maybe Eliza had gotten up early to set something up. I lay there for a minute listening. No smell of pancakes, no footsteps in the hall, no hushed whispering, no cabinet doors. Just the hum of the ceiling fan and the strange silence of a house that was not waiting for me. I brushed my teeth, put on a hoodie, and walked downstairs expecting the surprise to reveal itself any second. Nothing. The kitchen was clean. No coffee brewing, no breakfast, no card on the counter. I checked the living room. Empty. I checked Mia's room. Empty. Logan's room. Empty. I looked in the garage and Eliza's car was gone. By 9 o'clock, I was confused, but I tried not to let my mind go anywhere dark. Maybe they had gone to pick something up. Maybe there was a reservation I did not know about. Maybe the surprise involved me waiting at home until they came back. By noon, that excuse started feeling thin. I checked my phone. No message, no missed call, no note, nothing. Then I opened Instagram. That was the moment everything changed. Mia had posted a story. The first clip was a boomerang of a mimosa clinking against a glass of orange juice. The next was a slow pan across a restaurant table. I saw Eliza. I saw Mia. I saw Logan. I saw Eliza's sister, Tasha. Everyone was smiling. Everyone was laughing. There were pancakes and fruit and fancy drinks, and sunlight pouring over the table like the whole thing had been staged to look perfect. Then I saw the caption. "Best dad ever when he's not around, LOL." I stared at those words for so long, they stopped looking real. My brain kept trying to find some other meaning, some angle where it was a harmless joke, a prank, a misunderstanding. But my chest already understood before my mind did. It tightened. It burned. It felt like someone had reached inside me and pulled something loose. Was I not invited? Was this the surprise? Was the joke that I was sitting at home alone on Father's Day, while my family celebrated somewhere else?
I did not text, I did not call, I did not storm into the restaurant. I just sat there with my phone in my hand, wearing the same hoodie Mia had given me the previous Christmas. And I waited. I kept thinking, surely someone would call. Surely Eliza would say, "Come outside, we're picking you up." Surely Mia would delete the story and say she meant something else. Surely Logan would send a message asking where I was. Nothing came. The rest of that day blurred around the edges. I remember heating up leftover pasta. I remember sitting on the porch with the dog. I remember watching the sky get dark and wondering whether they were even coming home that night. They did not. Monday came and went. I worked. I logged into meetings. I answered emails. I nodded at things I barely heard. Nobody at work mentioned Father's Day. Nobody in my family mentioned it either. At some point, I started wondering whether I was the crazy one. Maybe I had misunderstood. Maybe there was some explanation so obvious that I was missing it because I was hurt. Then, Tuesday morning around 9:20, my phone exploded. 63 missed calls, a dozen texts, one message from Mia that said, "Please come home." We didn't know. That was when I realized something deeper was happening. Something worse than being forgotten. Something worse than being left out. Because they had finally come home, and I was no longer there. I know what anyone might ask. Why did I not go back immediately? Why did I not blow up their phones on Sunday? Why did I not demand answers? Why did I not show up at that brunch and confront them in front of everybody? I have asked myself those questions too. But when something like that happens, when reality tilts that hard, you do not always react like the version of yourself you imagined. Sometimes you freeze. Sometimes you wait. Sometimes you hope it is not what it looks like. You keep waiting for the logical explanation, the hidden twist, the part where everyone jumps out and says it was never meant to hurt you. But I had a feeling in my gut that would not leave. It said, "James, you are not the main character anymore. Not in your marriage, not in your house, maybe not even in your own life." Still, I did not respond right away. I needed to understand what had happened. I needed to know why a day that was supposed to be for me had turned into a celebration of me not being there. I needed to know why Mia, the little girl who used to draw stick figure cards and call me her superhero dad, had posted me like I was a joke. Eliza's voicemail was frantic, but not apologetic. "James, please call me. The kids are upset. I don't know what you're doing, but this isn't funny. Just come home. We can talk. Please." I listened to it twice. Her voice was shaky, but there was something missing. Not remorse, not shock, not even real confusion. She sounded annoyed, like I was the one causing a scene. Like I was embarrassing her by reacting to something she had expected me to quietly swallow. That was when I started digging. We had a shared Google account. Eliza never signed out, not because she trusted me, but because she was not very tech-savvy. Calendar entries, emails, locations, searches, all of it was synced, if you knew where to look. And I knew where to look. I scrolled through her recent searches and found Father's Day brunch ideas, funny dad captions, and then one search that stopped me cold: how to handle manipulative husbands. I sat there staring at it, feeling the room go still around me. Then I checked her emails. There was a thread with Tasha. The subject line said, "Sunday plans." I opened it and there it was. "Just make sure James doesn't find out," Tasha had written. Eliza replied, "He won't. I told him it's a surprise. This way we can have a peaceful brunch for once. He'll probably enjoy the quiet." Peaceful brunch. Enjoy the quiet. Something inside me snapped then. Not in a loud way, not in a throwing things against the wall way. It was quieter than that. Colder. All those years, I had thought maybe I was not celebrated, but at least I was respected. I was not asking to be worshipped. I was asking to be treated like I mattered. But to be lied to, left behind mocked online,
and then framed as the problem before I even asked a question, that was not a mistake. That was not forgetfulness. That was premeditated cruelty. I did not call back. I did not reply to the texts. Instead, I started going over the past year in my head, one overlooked detail at a time. The late-night showings Eliza said took hours. The way Logan had started saying Uncle Mark with more warmth than he used when talking about me, even though Mark was only Tasha's husband. The way Mia had started rolling her eyes whenever I asked if she wanted to do something together. The way Eliza sighed when I talked about work, like my life bored her. I had treated those moments like small things, teenage attitude, work stress, marriage fatigue. But now they looked different. They looked connected. They looked like pieces of a picture I had refused to see. Then I checked the home cameras. We had installed them 2 years earlier after a break-in scare. Eliza had access too, but she almost never used them. I pulled up the footage from Sunday morning. At 7:46, I saw them all leaving the house. Mia was wearing a pink sundress. Logan had on a little button-up shirt and khakis. Eliza was in heels, laughing as she locked the door behind them. She glanced back toward the front door, toward the house where I was still asleep, and said something I could not hear. Then all three of them laughed. They had not just left me, they had laughed. And for what? A joke, a break, a photo opportunity, a chance to practice life without me sitting at the table. That night I packed a bag, laptop, chargers, a week's worth of clothes. I did not leave a note. I knew they would notice soon enough. I checked into a hotel across town. Nothing fancy, just a room with clean sheets and working Wi-Fi. I needed space. I needed time. More than anything, I needed a plan. Because something in me had shifted, and I knew I would never be able to put it back where it had been. I was not going to let this slide. I was not going to play the fool anymore. And I was not going home. Not yet. Not until I decided what kind of storm I was bringing with me. That first night at the hotel, I barely slept. The bed was fine, better than the pull-out couch I used whenever Logan had sleepovers. But my brain would not shut off. I stared at the ceiling while memories jumped through my mind like a broken slideshow. Christmas mornings, soccer games, Mia's science fair, late nights on the porch with Eliza when the kids were little, sipping coffee and talking about the future like we were building it together. Now those memories felt distorted, like someone had taken a red pen and scribbled over all of them. I kept replaying that Instagram story, the laughter, the mimosa, the caption, "Best dad ever when he's not around, LOL." That LOL looped in my head like a song I hated but could not stop hearing. It was so casual, so easy, like I was a sitcom dad. Like I was a running joke. But I was not a joke. I was the man who paid the mortgage. I fixed the leaky sink. I helped with algebra homework. I sat in waiting rooms. I gave up job opportunities because working remotely meant I could be home more. I was there for the unglamorous parts, the invisible parts, the parts nobody posts online. And apparently, none of that had meant enough to save me a chair at brunch. Tuesday night, I finally messaged Mia. Just 2 words. I saw. She read it almost immediately. The typing bubble appeared, vanished, appeared again, and vanished again. I waited, my heart pounding like I was waiting for a verdict. No reply came, just silence. I was halfway through a takeout burger when my phone lit up again. This time, it was Logan. "Dad, are you mad?" Mad. That word felt too small. I was not mad the way you get mad when someone cuts you off in traffic. I was gutted, hollowed out, humiliated. But Logan was 11 years old, and I was not going to pour adult wreckage into a child's hands. "I'm okay," I texted back. "We'll talk soon." He sent a thumbs-up emoji. Somehow, that hurt more than if he had said nothing. By Wednesday, Eliza had found the hotel. I still do not know how. Maybe she checked the credit card. Maybe she guessed. Maybe she knew me well enough to know I would pick somewhere quiet but not too far away. She called the front desk, and they put her through to my room. I did not answer. She left another voicemail. This one was tighter, more controlled.
"James, this is getting ridiculous. The kids are worried. You're making a bigger deal out of this than it needs to be. Can we please just talk like adults? Come home. We'll clear the air, like adults. Like adults who lie to your face, ditch you on a holiday, and post about it publicly.
I did not respond. I went to work instead, but not my regular job. I started pulling pieces together. First, I copied every financial file I could find. Bank accounts, credit cards, mortgage documents, investment accounts. Eliza handled most of our finances. She had insisted years ago that she was better with numbers, and I believed her. I trusted her. Now I wanted to see everything for myself. And I did. There were odd charges, Venmo payments to names I did not recognize, a rental deposit paid in full in another city, weekly lunch charges from a restaurant nowhere near her usual listings. My stomach turned as each detail landed. Then I dug through our shared Dropbox. Years ago, we used it for family photos, travel plans, budgeting spreadsheets, school forms, all the boring digital clutter of a shared life. Eliza still used it sometimes. She must have forgotten I still had access. Buried in a subfolder was a document titled Plan B. I opened it with my pulse pounding. It was a list, a detailed one. New apartment walkthrough, check. Lawyer consult scheduled, check. Joint account split estimate. What to do if James resists. Tasha can talk to him. Keep kids neutral. Do not overshare. I sat there staring at that line. If James resists. Like I was not her husband, not the father of her children, not the man who had spent 16 years building a life with her. I was an obstacle, a problem to manage, a person to move around so the plan could continue. This was not just about brunch. This was an escape plan. And that was when the weight of it truly hit me. They had not forgotten me. Eliza had excluded me on purpose. That Father's Day brunch had been a test run, a little rehearsal for a life without me at the table. Maybe if I had not seen Mia's Instagram story, they would have come home and acted normal. Maybe they would have let the plan unfold quietly, neatly, on Eliza's terms. She would have controlled the timeline, the story, the kids, the sympathy. But now, the ball was in my court. I spent the rest of Wednesday getting my ducks in a row. I made appointments. I called an old friend who worked in family law. I rented a private mailbox. I opened a separate bank account. I was not trying to burn everything down. Not yet. But if Eliza wanted war, I was going to make sure she was not the only one holding a match. Thursday morning, I got an email from the school. Mia had skipped 2 classes. Logan had been pulled out early. I guessed Eliza was trying to smooth things over, maybe spinning the situation as, Dad is having a moment. But I knew my kids. Mia could be distant, yes, she was 14, and 14 came with walls and eye rolls and sudden sharp edges. But Logan was a straight arrow. If he had left early, he was confused, hurt, maybe scared. It was time to talk to them, not Eliza, not yet, the kids. I texted Mia, meet me at the diner near the park, 5 p.m., just you and Logan, no pressure. She replied within 5 minutes, okay. At 4:50, I was already in the booth. I ordered a milkshake for Logan and fries for Mia, her favorite. When they walked in holding hands, both of them looked smaller than I remembered. Mia had her hoodie pulled over her head. Logan could not stop fidgeting with his sleeve. Mia slid into the booth and stared at me with puffy eyes. She looked like she had not slept. Dad, she started. I held up my hand gently. Let me go first. So they listened. I told them what I knew. I told them I saw the brunch. I saw the Instagram story. I saw the caption. I knew about the emails. I knew this had not been an accident. I did not yell. I did not shame them. I did not make them choose sides. I just laid the truth on the table, as calmly as I could. Mia looked like she wanted to disappear into her seat. We didn't know the whole plan, she finally said. Mom said you were tired. She said you'd be annoyed if we made a big fuss. She said it was just one brunch. She said it was a girl's thing, Logan muttered, staring down at the table. But then I was there too. I nodded because I believed them. I hated that I believed them, but I did. I know it's not your fault, I said, but I want you to hear this from me. I am not disappearing. I love you both. No matter what happens between me and your mom, you are still my kids. Always. Mia started crying. Then Logan did too. I reached across the booth and suddenly both of them were leaning into me like they had been holding their breath for days.
In that moment, I realized something important. Eliza had been planning her clean escape, but she had not told the kids the whole truth. She had tried to pull them into her version of the story, but they were not fully inside it. Not yet. They were confused but reachable. Hurt, but still mine. I hugged them both before they left. I told them I would be in touch soon. I told them things were going to be okay, even if okay did not look the way it used to. Back at the hotel that night, I poured myself a drink and sat at the tiny desk with my laptop open. I stared at the folder I had built. I named it Reset because that was what this was becoming. Not just revenge, not even justice. A reset. A hard stop to the life where I swallowed disrespect and called it patience. But first, there was one conversation I still needed to have. I opened my phone, scrolled to Eliza's name, hit record on the voice memo app, and called her. She answered quickly, smooth as ever. James, finally. Are you ready to stop being dramatic? I smiled even though there was nothing funny about it. Not dramatic, Eliza, I said. Just getting started. Then I asked her one question, a question I already knew the answer to. I asked because I wanted to hear her lie. How long have you been planning to leave me? The silence that followed was thick. No breathing, no movement, just the low static hum of tension through the phone. Then she said, "What?" Her voice was higher than usual, almost light, almost dismissive. I asked how long, I repeated. Plan B, the apartment, the lawyer consult, the budget spreadsheet. I read it all. Eliza, I know. She gave a short, forced laugh, like a cough trying to dress itself up as amusement. That's unbelievable. You went through my stuff. You left it in our shared folder, I said. You did not even bother to hide it. Was I supposed to keep smiling while you packed your escape route? Another pause. Then her voice hardened. You don't understand. Things have not been working for a long time. You just don't see it because you're always in your own world. There it was, the turn. The familiar twist where someone else's choices became my failure. I work from home, I said. I drive the kids, I cook, I clean. I tried to give you space, time support. If I missed something, you could have said so. Instead, you planned a brunch to celebrate me not being there. You're twisting it, she snapped. It was supposed to be lighthearted. It was supposed to be a test run, I said, and you know it. Her silence gave me the answer. Do they know? I asked. Mia and Logan. Do they know about the apartment? The lawyer? No, she said too quickly. Of course not. Why would I tell them something that might not even happen? Because it already is happening, Eliza. I let that hang there. I wanted to see if she would step back, if she would deny it all, if she would apologize, but she did not. She doubled down. I'm not doing this with you over the phone, she said sharply. If you want to talk, come home. Why? So I can walk into a house that has already been emotionally emptied out? You are being dramatic, James. There was that word again. I am being precise, I said, lowering my voice. And for what it is worth, you could have told me the truth. You did not have to turn the kids into pawns in some sick little performance. Do not drag them into this. I already met with them, I cut in. They are not stupid. They feel it too. You have been playing chess, Eliza, and I am only now realizing I was never your partner. I was a piece. Another silence followed, but this one felt different. Not stunned. Calculated. Okay, she said finally. So what now? Now. That was the question. I did not answer right away. Part of me wanted her to feel what it was like to be left in the dark. But more than that, I needed time. What I was planning was not just revenge. It was revelation, a careful unraveling. I'll be in touch, I said. Then I ended the call. I sat there for a while, letting the quiet fill the room where her voice had been. My heart was pounding, but my mind felt clearer than it had in weeks. I was not trying to destroy Eliza. I was going to expose the version of herself she had worked so hard to sell to me, to the kids, to our family, to everyone. Then, I was going to let the truth speak for itself. That night, I called my lawyer friend Darren. We had gone to college together, lost touch, and reconnected the year before when his firm helped with some tech compliance contracts. I did not tell him everything at first. just the basics. Eliza was planning something. I had documentation. I needed to protect myself and the kids. He did not ask why I had waited. He just said, "Let's meet Friday. I'll prepare the paperwork. Bring everything you have." That gave me 2 days. 2 days to finish what I had started. The next morning, I went to our safe deposit box, something Eliza had probably forgotten existed. Inside were old documents, insurance policies, backup drives, and the original house deed. I made copies of everything. Then I went to the bank and froze the joint savings account. I did not drain it. I did not want to financially destroy her. I just wanted to make one thing clear. I was not the passive fool she had mistaken me for. The man she left behind on Father's Day was not the same man she was dealing with now. When I got back to the hotel, there was a letter under my door. "James, please, we need to talk. The kids are scared. I don't know what you're doing, but we're still a family. Just come home. I'll explain everything." It was not handwritten. It was printed. That small detail told me more than the words did. She still thought this was damage control. She still thought I could be talked down. She thought the right tone, a soft face, maybe a few tears, would smooth over weeks or months of manipulation. She did not understand that the story had already changed. So I did something she never expected. I wrote my own letter, not to her, to the kids. I wrote about how much I loved them. I told them I was still their dad. I told them I was not running away, but choosing to fight differently. I explained in words they could handle that sometimes adults lie, even adults we love and trust. And when they do, the answer is not to bury the truth under more silence. We speak up. We stand tall. We protect what matters. I told them I would never ask them to choose sides. I told them it was okay to love their mom. But I also told them I would not be a ghost in their lives, not for one more day. Then I mailed it. Not emailed, not texted. Mailed. Something real, something they could hold in their hands. I was done with illusions. That night, I went through the last of the digital files. Old voicemails, screenshots, calendar notes, little pieces of evidence showing just how long I had been living in a house where the door had already been closing behind me. By Friday morning, I was ready. I showed up at Darren's office with a flash drive, 2 binders, and a list of questions. Legal custody, financial separation, emergency arrangements. I wanted to be thorough, not because I wanted revenge, but because I wanted my kids to know one day that I fought for them, that I did not vanish, that I did not hand over my role in their lives just because someone else had decided I was inconvenient. Halfway through the meeting, my phone buzzed. Eliza had posted on Instagram. It was a throwback picture of her and the kids smiling. The caption read, "Some people break your heart and still expect you to love them." And just like that, I realized she had started spinning her version of the story publicly before the truth could catch up. But she had miscalculated one thing. I was not reacting anymore. I was preparing. And when I was done, everyone would know who she really was. I waited exactly 1 week. Not because I was unsure. I was not. I waited because real revenge does not come from rage. It comes from clarity, precision. I wanted Eliza to sit with her choices. I wanted her to watch her narrative spread and believe she had the upper hand. That belief made what came next so much more satisfying. It started with the truth. I did not post some messy rant on social media. I was not going to play her game on her turf. Instead, I wrote a letter and shared it with the neighborhood forum, the school parent board, and a private group message to family members on both sides. I kept it calm, mature, just facts. I told them what happened on Father's Day. No theatrics, no name-calling, no curses. I wrote that I had woken up alone after being told not to make plans, while my family smiled over pancakes and mimosas at a brunch I was never invited to. I mentioned the Instagram story, the caption, the silence. Then I explained that when I asked for honesty, what I found instead was a digital trail of betrayal, a documented plan to replace me, to move on without facing me like an adult, like a partner. Like someone who had once promised to build a life with me. I made one thing very clear. I was not disappearing. I was not shrinking, and I was not the villain. Then came the legal part. Darren helped me draft the papers. Separation, custody, a financial breakdown that reflected my years of contribution. Not just income, but time. The unpaid labor, the coaching, the late-night science projects, the hospital visits, the school runs, the emotional anchor I had been while Eliza ran from listing to listing, smiling for strangers while slowly erasing me at home. We served her during one of her open houses. The courier walked right in, said her name, and handed her the envelope while she stood in a sunlit living room in front of a young couple trying to buy their first home. Poetic does not even begin to cover it. After that, things unraveled quickly. Eliza tried damage control. She reached out to friends. She said I was being vindictive, emotionally unstable, manipulative. But by then, it was too late. The receipts were everywhere. Her plan B was not a misunderstood note. It was a blueprint for calculated emotional neglect. People started backing away. Friends we had known for years stopped replying to her group text. Tasha, who had been smug enough to laugh along at that brunch, suddenly took a trip out of state and did not come back for 3 weeks. I think she realized she had been standing too close to the blast radius. Mia and Logan stayed with me most of that first month. Not because I forced them, not because I asked them to punish their mother. They chose to. And that was the final crack in Eliza's version of the story. She could not sell herself as the stable one when the kids kept packing their bags and asking if they could go back to Dad's. And me, I rebuilt. Not quickly, not perfectly, but I stopped living like a ghost in my own story. I signed a lease on a smaller house nearby. It was not grand, but it was cozy. Mia decorated her room however she wanted. Logan got a loft bed and glow-in-the-dark stars. We made waffles on Saturdays. I started journaling. I went back to the gym. I laughed again sometimes unexpectedly, like my body was remembering how. I told the kids the truth, gently but honestly. I told them love does not mean letting someone walk all over you. Respect goes both ways. Being a parent, a real parent, means showing up even when it hurts. It means telling the truth without using your children as weapons. It means staying steady when the ground shifts under everyone. Eliza and I finalized the divorce 6 months later. She did not fight too hard in the end. I think she knew. The image had cracked and no amount of filters could put it back together. The last time we saw each other in person, she tried one more time. "You really made this ugly, James," she said. I looked her straight in the eye. "No," I said. "You did. I just stopped cleaning up after you." She did not reply. She just stood there with her lips pressed tight as I walked away with my kids. And as I closed the door behind me, I realized something I wish I had understood sooner. Sometimes, being the bigger person means knowing when to stop carrying people who were never walking beside you in the first place. That was the day I finally came home for real.